In today's video, I wanted to talk to you about some tips and tricks that aren't the regular tips and tricks that you normally would hear. This isn't the same old know your rule of thirds, balance your exposure, balance your scene. These are tips you generally wouldn't hear in a photography tips and tricks video. They're just a couple of things that I like to do that I figured I'd throw together in a video for you guys. They're a bit more of the unconventional ones. Number one is don't be afraid to change up the scene and bring props. Sometimes props and changing something in the scene will actually allow the photo to be more interesting. Sometimes I'll bring a camera with me, set it up somewhere, and take a photo of the camera. Usually it's one of these old style vintage cameras. They just photograph really nicely and they're very unique. Other times I'll move stuff in the scene. For example, I took a photo of this leaf in a river. Now the leaves were slowly making their way down the river, but I didn't want to wait and wait for the perfect opportunity for that perfect leaf to come by. So I grabbed a leaf off a tree and I placed it exactly where I wanted it in the frame, and then I took my photo. So yeah, it's a little tiny bit of a fib, but at the same time, I'm not going to wait around forever for the perfect leaf to come by. You know, I just don't have the time or the patience, especially when I have that feeling where I want to get this photo that I have in my mind. I want to make it happen. So don't be afraid to change up the scene. Don't be afraid to bring some props. It's all well and good. It can really add to your photo. There's also tons of cool ideas you can do with props. Like go on Pinterest and look up a couple of those photos from other photographers and you'll get some amazing results that you can probably try at home. This one's a bit unconventional, but listen to music. A lot of the times when you put in your headphones and you pick a certain genre of music that matches the vibe that you're going for, you'll see more photos come out of the woodwork. You'll be more inspired because you're listening to that music that really makes you feel what you're trying to capture. For example, if you want like a wanderlust vibe for your photos, listen to a Monsters and Men, the Lumineers, something like that that gets you thinking, gets you in the mood. You want calm, peaceful, maybe listen to some Enya, some classical music. If you're going for those warm, kind of coffee time vibes, maybe listen to the soundtrack for Midnight in Paris or some light jazz. When you start listening to music while taking your photos, a lot of the times the photos come to you because you could just be stuck in this trance where you're like, I gotta find this photo, I gotta think of something, and nothing comes to mind. But usually when you listen to the music, the inspiration kind of comes naturally, it comes flowing through you. Hopefully that doesn't sound too pretentious, but it does help me. This one's a bit of a two-parter, but one thing that really inspires me is cinematography. When you're watching a TV show or a movie and there's just a certain shot that appears that just looks amazing, a lot of times I'll take that into my own photography and try and recreate that still from that movie. For example, some things that come to mind are when Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark is standing against the sun, he's just a silhouette, and they're excavating the Ark of the Covenant. That is just an amazing shot and it would look amazing as a photo. Or when Walter Mitty in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty is longboarding down the hills in Iceland. These photos can inspire you and make you kind of just think about certain scenes that would look good as photos. Cinematography has a lot of the same principles as photography, but instead of moving, it's a still. So you can take those stills from those movies and be inspired by that for your own photography. Now the next point kind of goes along with what I was talking about before. Mimic those who inspire you, whether it's painters, photographers, cinematographers, journalists, any sort of thing like that. If you can adapt their work to your own photography, it might open your eyes to see different things that you wouldn't have seen before because you're trying to mimic their style. And even just by doing this, you might learn some new principles of photography that you didn't know before. You might start to see certain trends that you didn't really think about before. It's not copying, it's inspiration and it's learning. I recently did this exact same thing in this video here, where I recreated Wes Anderson's style in photography. Go check it out if you're interested. Also, if you guys like this video, subscribe. I'd love to see you back here hanging out in another one. All right, that's it. Have a good one. Peace.